Fear has a powerful way of making you think and do completely irrational things because it reduces your cognitive capability for fight or flight. If you can't do either, like in the case of hell, the evil gay, the feminist, the black, the Mexican, Jewish, or Muslim agenda, you're just afraid for fear's sake, and those with less self-control will let their fight instincts go into anger. The phrase, people fear what they don't understand, is very true, which is why it sounds PC and hippie to say that learning and understanding leads to peace, when it's actually true. It's not just a nice sentiment. The only way to overcome your fear is to better understand it. The fear of snakes or wild animals are overcome by studying them and understanding them. Then you can handle them with great respect and care. If you don't understand the meme of religion, you will not know how to mentally inoculate people against it. You'll just make them feel persecuted, which makes the meme stronger, because now it's an us versus them scenario. Park 51 in the growing Muslim Menace is a perfect example of how fear trumps logic because of ignorance. I kept hearing people say, watch out for the Muslims, they'll be taking over the US. It's only a matter of time. Yes, our 6% Muslim population who were born and raised in America will be taking over. There seems to be a divide between the liberals in the US and the rest of the West in the views on Muslims. I think a lot of it is due to our Constitution and our experience with immigrants. America has been nothing but a melting pot of immigrants, and every new wave of immigrants caused a new rash of fear and bigotry. It's hilarious to see people of Irish, German, Italian, or Jewish descent speak out against the Muslim or Mexican immigrants, especially since just 70 years ago they had to go through the exact same thing. And you want to talk about a religion that wants to take over? Anyone remember the Catholic Church? That church was the very reason why many fled to the U.S., because of the religious persecution. The church wanted influence on everything and controlled much of Europe. The Founding Fathers knew this, and to ensure that no religion would be respected or set up by the government, they wrote the First Amendment. Did you know that Guy Fawkes was actually a Catholic terrorist and was trying to do a 9/11 on Parliament to restore power to the church? Not exactly V for Vendetta, or the celebration most people remember. Catholics who came over here were given the same reception many years as Muslims are getting now. Most of them just came to this country to practice their religion in peace and reap the benefits of their hard work, but they were persecuted because they were generalized with the agenda of the church. American Muslims are allowed to intermingle freely with people of all creeds, faiths, and walks of life. They have had their standard of living raised and have had their mind expanded beyond what they would have had in their homogeneous nation. The majority love the freedom they share and would fight to defend my freedom to practice my beliefs just as much as I would theirs. It is the Constitution that keeps us free and would require 3/4 of the nation to vote to eliminate the freedom of religion. I had an atheist extremist Canadian once tell me that America needs to pull its head out of its ass and eliminate the freedom of religion. The freedom of religion is what allows me to be a non-believer and speak blasphemously about it without fear of legal repercussion. The Bill of Rights is one of the greatest documents and set of laws ever written. Sadly, because other nations like Britain do not have a constitution and everything is set on precedent, and there are not nearly as many precedent for immigration as there is in the U.S., they're having many of the immigration problems we went through years ago. Dawkins recently made a documentary discussing the major problem Britain is having with religious schools that receive funding from the government, and now any religion can get funding for the government to build a school. These schools can discriminate based on religion or background if they deem the person to be not religious enough. If it was a truly secular nation like the U.S., they would not be allowed to do this without a massive fight. The school vouchers program in my home state is another example, and hopefully that's going to be fought at the Supreme Court level. Religious schools that allow for only people of their faith ensure their kids will grow up with no knowledge of people beyond what they know. Many of these schools exist because they don't want their kids tempted by new ideas. This kind of isolation is what's causing the rise in extremism in Europe and the lack of understanding among the groups. To eliminate the freedom of religion would be a horrible idea. The Soviet Union outlawed religion, so their numbers of professing religious dropped significantly. The problem was that they didn't teach thinking, reason, and logic skills required to question religion and not be swayed by it. The state dogma and propaganda was their religion, that the USSR claimed to despise so much, but blind devotion was encouraged and rewarded. So when the Iron Curtain fell and they now had the freedom of religion, suddenly there was a massive backlash. Europe's religions had been dropping steadily through great education and increased standard of living. Russia now has a much higher level of believers than most of Europe has. It's like instead of exposing a child to reality and building up the antibodies you need, you keep the child in a bubble and then the bubble bursts. Now the child's exposed more than ever. Russians had found their state religion of their communist state was shattered. So what do when you weren't taught to question? You switch quickly over to another religion. So why is Islam more violent than Christianity, even though Christianity has a slightly more violent book? It's because Christians live in the West, where they have luxuries and money, education, and freedom. Muslims tend to live in poorer countries or oppressive areas, and the rise of the Arab Spring is showing them more and more they can be peaceful and have power over their lives. Just like with every new wave of oppressed dogmatic people, education, communication, and integration is the only way to end and reduce the fear they have of logic and questioning. Or we can all freak out, crawl in a hole, and round them up and send them to special camps, like other groups of hate and fear-filled bigots. Or Pat Condell.